Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is draft with filming where we draft patterns and sometimes we sew also. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how you can draft a simple bodice pattern in a very simple way where you can use this pattern to draft out your corset, your blouse, your top, your shirt. You can either make it, even though it's going to be having that, you can make it dartless and so on and so forth. But this is like a basic foundation of what you can use to adapt into any kind of style that requires a bodice. So let's get right into the video. So as you can see, I've already marked out my start point and I'm going on ahead to mark out my vertical measurement, which is my chest point, my chest line, my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, which is also my half length, and also my blouse length, which I also use as my hip line. So after marking out all these lines, I'm just going to make it, extend the lines to make a straight line so it can be visible and all my markings can actually show on them. So in a particular order, I'm measuring my bust point first, going ahead to measure my under bust. I went ahead also to rule out my waist point, which is also my half length. You can either call it your waistline or your half length, and also my blouse length or my hip line. Your blouse length can easily be longer than this. I'm using 24 inches, which is also my hip line, because I want my blouse to sit on my hip. So that's why I'm using. You can easily, the average measurement for a blouse length is 27 inches, or you can go lower, but I guess you can go higher than that unless you're making for a specific style or you're going with a gown. So I'm drafting both the front and the back pattern together. So I went higher to mark out this point also on my back pattern, excluding the bust point, the under bust. So all I'm marking here is my chest line, my waist, my half length, and also my blouse length, which is also my hip line. So for my back waistline, you can see is equivalent to my under bust for the front pattern, because I'm using 14 inches for my back half length, because my back half length is shorter than my waist, than my front half length. My front half length is 16 inches, so make sure you get your measurement very well. So this is my bust, my chest line, sorry. This is my chest line, which I got by dividing my bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch. But I don't put the 1 inch. Instead of, some people do bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, but I use bust divided by 4 without no extra allowance, because I'm still going from this point. I'm going to remove my shoulder slant. So the bust I'm using for this pattern is 36 divided by 4, that is 9. So I marked out 9 inches right here. So that works for me. This actually works for me. Your bust divided by 4, that's it. Then you mark out 1 inch or 1.5 for your shoulder slants, but I go with 1.5 so I can really get a very fitted armhole and shoulder. It actually works for me, so you can try it and pick anyone that works best for you. So this is my chest line, so just go ahead and label your points, your lines. So this is my chest point, my bust point, this is my under bust, this is my waistline, also, and this is my blouse length, So now that we have all our lines out, so it is now time to impute all our measurements that we want to impute. So from this point, I'm just going to go ahead and mark out my shoulder, which is 14 divided by 2, which is 7 inches. No extra allowances, 7 inches. I went ahead to mark it down on my chest line also, so I can easily get a straight line. So just go ahead and mark out this line, So once you mark this out, so place your tape from the starting point and look for the midpoint here. So here is my midpoint. So from that point, go in. You see the way I'm placing my tape measure, go in by 0.5 inch, and from this point mark out your bust circumference divided by 4. Mark it out. Then from this point you're going to connect these three dots together, right from the shoulder line to the 0.5 you measured in and to the bust circumference you marked on your chest line. So connect this like so. This marks out your armhole. You need to get a curve ruler. If you are very artistic, you can use your hand. So from this point, mark down your shoulder slant. I used 1.5 inch, and from this point I marked my neck width, which is 3 inches. So I'm connecting this together to my shoulder, to my neck width rather, and placing my tape measure on my shoulder line. I'm coming down by 4 inches. Just coming by 4 inches. You can come down by 3, you can come down by 5, depending on how wide you want your neck to be. So I like coming down by 4 inches. So I'm just trying to make a square so I can easily make a round. My round neck can easily come out very well. So I might not be using the neck depending on what style I want to do. I can easily use it like that. So this is why this pattern is for. You can easily adapt this pattern into any kind of style you want. This is like a base for your patterns. With this pattern you can do a lot. You can do a lot because I'm going to be using it a lot on this channel also, because I'm going to be transferring it on different patterns. So from this point I'm marking out my nipple to nipple measurements, which is 4 inches. So I'll mark on my nipple to nipple, but before I do that I'll go ahead and mark on my round measurement, which is my bust, my waist, and my hip measurements, and connect the lines like so. Just go ahead and look at what I'm doing, and you would easily see that it is a very simple pattern. If you are a freehand, switching to pattern drafting is not that hard. So just go right ahead and measure your nipple to nipple measurements. I made a mistake the other time. So this is me measuring my nipple to nipple measurements right now. You measure it up to your bust point and pick up your ruler and draw down a straight line. So if you notice, I didn't mark the line up to my blouse length. So from my waistline, I went down by 6 inches. That was what I did. So from the waistline, I went in by 0.5 inch and 0.5 inch. So I connect this together and form my dart leg. I know you must be familiar with that. So this is how I go in with my dart. So in future alterations, it could be bigger, it could be smaller. In fact, it will even be bigger in future alterations, because if you're trying to make a corset with this pattern, or you're trying to make a bustier, definitely you have to do under bust tightening and every other thing. So from this point, after marking out my dart leg, just go ahead and mark 1 inch all the way down from the waist, from the bust, and also from the hip. I'm just trying to mark out a 1 inch allowance, so it could either be added to or be reduced, but I'm good with 1 inch with whatever it is I want to sew. Just connect these lines together. Too much allowance is not fine. Some people do add it on their fabric, but I tend to add the sides because sometimes I do forget unless I have written it there. So from this point, remember the difference we had from our waistline. Our half length for the front is 16, our half length for the back is 14. So 16 minus 14, that gives me 2 inches. That was what I marked right there for my bust dart. So the difference of the half length for the front and the back, that is what makes your bust dart. So I marked out 2 inches and connected to that bust point. So going to my blouse length, I went up by 1.5 inch to make a curve just to give it a style, so that my blouse will not be a basic blouse. So you can easily alter this in the future. This is just a basic. You can easily use this for a normal blouse. So this is my front pattern. We are done with our front pattern here. Simple, easy peasy. So moving on to our back pattern, we're going to be doing a few tweaks here and there, but it's similar to what we have on the front. So measuring my shoulder line, which is 7 inches. I did the same thing I did for the front, measure it on the chest point so I can easily get a straight line. But if you know your hand is very straight, don't worry, just mark on the top and just extend your line up to the chest line. That's just what I'm trying to do here. Connect this together. After connecting together, mark out your bust circumference and mark out your armhole. Remember, for the front armhole we went in by 0.5, but for the back we just marked our armhole because there is difference between the front and the back. And for the neck I go in by 3 and the length by 1, because the back is not always, too down, and depending on what kind of styles you want, as time goes on you would know how to easily alter this pattern. But for a basic measurement, you have 3 by 1. For the front you have 3 by 3, and you can easily adapt it into any kind of style you want later on. So I go ahead and mark out my weight, my body measurements for my waist, for my, and also for my hip, and also the allowance, also the same way I did for the front pattern. So here I'm going to be connecting all the lines together. After connecting these lines, mark out your nipple to nipple also. So I went ahead to measure what I have from my waist to where my dart leg reached. So I have 6 inches there. So I'm just going to go ahead and place my tape measure on my waistline and mark out 6 inches. So this is where my dart length will reach also for my back pattern. So it's going to be the same place, and I did the same for the upper parts also. It's also at my bust point level. So this is where my dart leg is going to reach. So I'm going to mark out 0.5 inch on both sides like I did for the front, and connect my lines together like you see me do. So after doing this, we have our back pattern. So the little tweak we need to do here is go to the M line, mark 1.5 inch and connect the way you did to the front. And after connecting this together, we'll go over and do our little tweak that I said, which is going to be happening on the waist line. Remember, there is always a gaping. Maybe you've seen somebody is wearing a blouse and there's always a gaping at the back, or the zip there is a zip bulge at the back. So this is how we eliminate the zip bulge. So we go ahead on the waistline, measure 0.5 inch and extend that line up into the chest line, but it's not going to reach the neck, and go also down into the hip line, but it's not going to reach the hip line. So it will just go into that line. So that's what we did there. So for the back gaping, on that line we'll go in by 0.25, 0.25 on both sides. Then we'll connect it as a dart back into our dart leg. Just look at the way I'm doing it and repeat exactly what I am doing. So with this, you're going to be cutting out on this side. So this is how you eliminate your zip bulge and any back gaping. So this is what we have for our front pattern and our back pattern. So with this pattern, you can easily make your overbust corset, cupped corset, funnel corset, any kind of corset blouse you want. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe for more videos like this.